it should also be very clear from regulators, as it has been from the government this week, that that is not meant to be anything to do with legally held political views. It would be a terrible thing in this country if you had to wonder whether you should express your opinion because you might be denied a bank account.
Yeah. Now, the Treasury has announced that UK banks will be subject to stricter rules on closing customers' accounts under changes designed to protect freedom of expression. It comes after Nigel Farage revealed this week that his account with Coutts was closed, partly because the bank didn't agree with his political views. The CEO of NatWest, which owns Coutts, apologised to the former UKIP leader, saying sorry for what she called the bank's deeply inappropriate comments. Yesterday morning on Times Radio, Nigel Farage called on the boss of NatWest to be hauled in front of the Treasury Select Committee.
But I think relevant committee members of the Treasury Committee need to convene as quickly as possible with Dame Alison Rose. She is the boss of that bank. She is earning 5 million quid a year for doing so. That is still 39% owned by us, the taxpayer. And we need to find out, what is the culture within that organisation? Is it acting as a bank, or is it now more interested in social engineering? So let's haul the boss before a committee and let's ask the relevant question.
Shami, is this one of the rare instances where you agree 100% with Nigel Farage?
Well, I mean, the thing about caring, the unfortunate thing about caring about rights and freedoms, as I have the burden of doing, is that you don't always get off your favourite poster boys and girls. Okay, so I really don't think it is appropriate for people to be denied banking services on the basis of their politics within the law. And I don't know if you expect me to say something different, but that
no, I expected you to say just that, actually. And when you paused, I thought maybe you weren't going to. But
no. But the only thing I was going to maybe disagree with Nigel Farage about is whether what he's calling for is the Treasury Select Committee or the regulator, because we do have regulators. I mean, banking is a highly regulated sector and should be. And I kind of wonder a bit about what the role of the regulator has been and should be in this, because he can he can have his hearings before a select committee and it'll all be very good drama. But in terms of actual powers and sanctions and what should be happening, not just about him going forward, but about everybody. And a lot of people are quite possibly being denied banking services increasingly unfairly, not necessarily just because of their politics, but because of other factors. And we're going into the AI revolution, and people may be denied banking services and not even know why.
Right. Well, William, William, that's the point, isn't it, here, that there's a whole can of worms opened up, because if Nigel Farage has been denied and there's this whole dossier of information on him, a zillion other people might have been in a similar position in a quite outrageous way.
Well, they might. I completely agree with what Shami has just been saying. And I think there's really a strong feeling across all parties here. And the point about the regulator is important too, because there are rules about what are called politically exposed persons. And banks have a responsibility to look out for things that might be corrupt or illegal and so on. And that is important. But it should also be very clear from regulators, as it has been from the government this week, that that is not meant to be anything to do with legally held political views. It would be a terrible thing in this country if you had to wonder whether you should express your opinion because you might be denied a bank account.
Yeah. Well, William, do you think, I mean, given this happened, as Nigel Farage said, the boss of NatWest, Dame Alison Rose, is paid around 5 million quid a year, extraordinary amount, and this has happened on her watch. Should she be considering her position, in your view?
Well, I don't know enough about who is responsible for what. That is no doubt.
Well, she's responsible for the bank.
Yeah, but we don't know who made, I don't know who made what decisions in the bank. And so I'm not going to assign responsibility within NatWest, or could probably none of us know enough to do that. What will be important is clarity about future policies, whether that bank or any bank in the future. And as technology changes, another important point that Shami just made, that this isn't going to happen again. And it's good the government has consulted this week. They're going to change the rules so that it's very clear what the responsibilities are. The banks have to explain if they're getting rid of somebody's bank account, and they have to give them 90 days And that will be an important improvement.
Right.
I also hope, Kath, that this will open up a bigger discussion about how important it is for everybody to be included in the banking system. Because some of the arguments that were being put up against Nigel Farage a few days ago were, well, it's a private business matter, and banks, particularly posh ones like Coutts, can decide who they do and who they don't bank with. It is incredibly difficult to be a member of our society with your cash under your mattress. Access to banking services is really quite fundamental.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can have a bigger conversation about whether people are getting or likely to be excluded because their business isn't big enough, or the banks aren't interested in it.
Very good point.